Hi there everyone, Laurel here with a card using some colored pencils on black cardstock using a stamp company that's new to me. It's called the Ton Stamps, and it's actually a couture line of stamps. It's pretty cool. High quality clear stamps made in the USA. I just think it's awesome. So I'm going to be using the shoe wardrobe outline stamp set. I'm also going to pull out the solid stamp set too, which is the shoes in a solid format. This one is in the outlines. I just love this. I mean, look at all these different shoes on this stamp set. It's like crazy. I wish I owned that many pairs of shoes. But these days I tend to wear a lot of yoga flip-flops. Chasing after my daughter, I got to have on some flip-flops. So I've got a piece of black cardstock there that I have prepped with a anti-static, it's called an embossing buddy. And it keeps that embossing powder from sticking where I don't want it to stick. So I'm using my Misti stamping tool. This by far made this so easy to use. So I've lined up all the shoes. I'm grabbing a ruler and kind of pushing all of those shoes down to the bottom of the ruler to make sure that I've got them straight. And see, I'm going to do it again here. And then I'm going to use the Misti, and that little hinged door on the right hand side is basically like a ginormous acrylic block. So I will close the door and then pick up all of my stamps. And as long as I keep that cardstock in the same place on the Misti on the left hand side, everything will be fine. I've got those two magnets there to hold that cardstock in place. So anytime I do any embossing with white, I always ink up my images with white pigment ink instead of Versamark. For me, I just feel like I get a crisper white image doing it this way. So again, that was just some white pigment ink by Hero Arts. And here's the benefit of the Misti. I didn't get that great impression the first time, so I inked up my stamps again, and then I pressed down. Everything's in the exact same spot, so no issues. So I was able to do some double stamping here to intensify that white. Then I'm going to use some white embossing powder here. This is just regular white embossing powder by Hero Arts. And I'm going to sprinkle it onto my black card base. Because I prepped it with the anti-static tool, none of that powder should stick where I don't want it to. So I encourage you to do that. If you don't have that kind of tool, grab a dryer sheet or even some baby powder. That'll help. So I'm taking my heat tool and I am heating this up, and I just think this is cool. Look how crisp and white, because we're heat embossing that. Look how it pops off that black cardstock or any kind of dark color cardstock. It would just pop right off the page. I just think that's so cool. Now to clean my stamps, I wanted to show you, I'm using this absorber. It's like a squeegee thing for cars. And I grabbed one and I cut it up into squares, and I keep it in a little Tupperware box to keep it moist. But that's how I clean my stamps, especially when I have this many on the Misti, and then it doesn't leave all that lint and stuff behind. So I just kept that in the video in case that's something that you're interested in. You can get it from, a grocery store, Walmart, Target, Amazon, wherever. So I'm using some Prisma colored pencils here, and I went into super fast motion because this is absolutely nothing. This is a no-brainer here. I'm just going in and coloring in the areas with different colors. I like the Prisma colored pencils. And you know what else is good? The Faber-Castell Art Grip pencils. They're really good against the black cardstock as well. I just like the colors, and they really pop off the dark card bases. Sometimes it's hard with some pencils to get that color to pop up through the dark card base because your card base is so dark, but these pencils just work beautifully, as does the Art Grip pencils. And I've also had some success with the Spectrum Noir pencils as well. So I've got all that nice and colored in, and now I need to go in and add a sentiment. So I'm going to take that same embossing buddy, and I'm going to, this is where I'm grabbing the solid shoe image. They're a solid format. And I'm going to grab the sentiment, and there's little stripes, solid stripes included in both stamp sets actually. And I'm going to kind of create my own little sentiment here. So I'm going to, again, line it up there. This was the hardest part for me, lining it up. My fingers, I have fat fingers or something. I got issues. Again, using that ruler to try to get it straight. I'm going to pick it up with the Misti. I'm going to ink it up with that white ink. And I'm also going to heat emboss it just like I did with the shoes. But for some reason, I didn't capture that on camera. So I did heat emboss this. It's just not caught on camera. And look how bright and bold and crisp it is. Now I'm also using that absorber, and I'm gently going over my cardstock to remove all of that powder. And the powder is gone. So I've got a regular top folding card here by Nina. I'm using the 110 pound. I've got this wicked, ginormous, huge roll of Scotch tape, double-sided tape. This is my favorite double-sided tape to use because you tear it off with your fingers. It's not something that you have to cut with scissors. And then you just peel off those backing papers. And I thought kind of popping this panel up would be fun. So again, I just peel off the backing papers. Usually I throw them off to the side or over my head. And then I'm going to just center that up onto my white card base. Now these are some couture sequin mixes. They've got, like, this particular pack has black sequins, silver sequins, and stars. Now you're never gonna see me put sequins down on video because it takes me forever. I'm just not that great at it, but I did go ahead and put a star and a couple of sequins down. This is some white, unicorn white ink, and I'm taking the little stir stick and I'm flicking it on there in different areas just to finish off the card, and that's it. Look at all these shoes. I just think they're cute and fashionable, and since I'm not really that fashionable right now with my flip-flops, I'm just gonna jump into these shoes in my mind and go walk a runway or something. All the supplies are linked up below in the YouTube channel as well as over on my blog if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching.